entrepreneurs, travelers, and everyone else in between. I'm Journals. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today, I'm coming to you with the product shout out. This product shout out goes to Kenyatta, Griggs, and Dame Dash for Culture Vultures. Now, originally, I intended for product shout outs to be for small businesses or just new entrepreneurs on the come up as a means for me to share how I'm giving back and supporting these people. I just think it's important to give a chance to small businesses. Now, even though Kenyatta, Griggs, and Dame Dash, they're far from being small businesses, but they are entrepreneurs and they've been able to be independent and remain that way, which I really admire. And I think that essentially that's the goal with a lot of these small businesses and new entrepreneurs that I'm supporting. They want to be able to be independent without having to work for other people. And that's why I'm supporting them, because I know that when I buy this book, it's going to them. It's not going to, like a Barnes and Noble or any other big bookstore or some big publishing house. Like, I know it's going to them, so that makes me feel good. Dame Dash has always been very interesting to me, and this curiosity kind of increased after the very famous Breakfast Club interview. Shortly after that, I started following Dame on Instagram, and after following Dame on Instagram, that's how I came to know of Kenyatta, and that's how I came to know of Culture Vultures. Noticeably, the first thing that stood out to me was how thick the book was. I was not expecting the book to be this thick. It's a good 300 and something pages. I was expecting something to be a little smaller. So when I opened my package and I saw how big it was, I was excited to see what kind of information they would be sharing. Also, a quick flip through shows you that we have a good amount of pictures here, which I think is pretty cool. It's just a really small pet peeve of mine, but I hate when all the pictures are like in the middle of the book. I don't know why that bothers me, but it really does, because it's like you have to stop reading to like go to the middle of the book and see if there's any pictures referencing what you just read. But here we get pictures at the beginning of each chapter, so it just makes it more convenient. So I really like that. The second thing worth mentioning is the font style. So I'll just flip open to any page. We have bold, we know that that's Dame speaking, and then when the font's like this, we know that it's Kenyatta or other people speaking. The other thing that I noticed and actually really like is at the end of each chapter, there's something called gems, and it's just their highlights of the chapter. So here's an example. Chapters finishing, and then we have some gems here. Now, I always read with a pen anyway, so as I finish a chapter and highlighting the points that are most interesting to me, it was kind of cool to see that their gems matched up with the things that I had highlighted. And it actually makes things easier if you're trying to go back and find something. So, for example, for me the other day, I finished reading the book, a few weeks ago, but I was looking for something that Dame had said, and I didn't quite remember where it was, but I could just skim through the book and read the gems, and I was able to figure out what I needed based on the gems that was listed for each chapter, so that helped. Now, as you can see, I'm going to do another flip through, and as you can see, there's a lot of like underlines and stuff in the text. And how I read, and this is with any piece of text that I'm reading, is I always read with a pencil, a pen, a highlighter, something. And whenever something's interesting, just a new thought that I like the way that it was explained, or a new concept I never thought about, or something that I want to kind of implement into my life, I just underline it. And when I'm done with the book, I grab a journal and I go through the book again. And what I do on this second reading is that I only go over the points that I underlined. So for instance, let me just flip to any page. Let's just say this page, right? I would write this right here, these few sentences, I would write it on the page of this journal. And I would write it at the top, and then I would think about those sentences, and I would just think about those ideas, and I would find ways on how I could implement it into my life I could really sit and think about what it means. So basically, you're just having a conversation with the book, with your journal. That's it. And what that does is it helps to make certain concepts and thoughts and ideas stick better. So when I'm done doing this whole process, whatever that was maybe confusing to me, whatever I really liked, it really sticks by the time that I'm done doing this whole journal process with the book that I'm reading. I'm going to show you the back of the book. The back of the book, we have like more, pictures and stuff. We have more pictures and we have advertisements. And the cool thing about these advertisements is that they're all Dame and Kenyatta's. They're all Dame and Kenyatta's. I mean, Think and Ball Out. That's Kenyatta. The Secret to Balling Out Journey. That's Kenyatta. Let's Go. That's Dame. What else do we have here? Poppington. That's Dame. Like this is all their stuff. They belong. Even this book. This book was published by Poppington LLC and Hip Hop Motivation LLC. So it's a really good, tangible example of them creating their own. And this is something that Dame and Kenyatta, they always talk about. They always talk about being your own boss. They always talk about creating and making your own thing, making your own lane. And if you need a rubric on how to do that, I mean, this is it. So it would be really hard to walk away from this book with questions still about things you were originally curious about. Things like, what happened with Jay-Z? What happened with Lee Daniels, Funk Flex, Lior, and the rest of the culture vultures? What happened with Rockefeller? Like, this book is actually extremely transparent, and I didn't think it would be so transparent. You read some books and it's just like fluff. You get to the end of it and you're just like, okay, I didn't learn anything. I still have questions. I don't understand what was the point of putting out a book and nothing was addressed. Well, this book is not like that. Like, it's not this thick for nothing. It's extremely, extremely transparent. And while all of those things were really interesting, the whole Jay-Z and all of that stuff, I didn't read this book for that. I wanted the book for other reasons, more so on the lines of entrepreneurship. That's why I wanted the book. And while reading for that, I came across other things that I thought were extremely interesting, and that's what I want to share with you guys today. The undertone of masculinity that I found that kind of showed up in areas, and I thought that they were really, really interesting, those points that were brought up in the book. And I feel this way because the basic roles of the male and female genders, I just feel like they've been severely compromised lately, and we see this in ways of women being more aggressive in nature, and less feminine because they feel like they need to protect themselves because the male presence that should be there, working as protector, is not. And so they need to somehow give off those masculine tendencies or energy in order to repel or protect themselves from anything that could be coming to harm them, or just feeling like men can't do anything for them. On the other side, for the men, it's sometimes the idea that they no longer have to be the provider, the protector, because women seem to give off the fact that they don't need those things anymore. So it's like each sex is reacting on the lack of something that the other sex is either giving or not giving to the other. And an example of this is Kenyatta says, "No woman had to be a certain type of woman in order for me to be a man. I will always remain a man regardless of her actions. And I think this is really interesting, and it goes back to what I was saying of men and women feeling like, well, because they're acting like that, I'm going to act like this. And this goes back to what I was saying of men and women not staying true to their roles and positions. The next thing that was just really rampant throughout this book was the idea of investing in yourself. And I mean, especially nowadays, we get so caught up in investing all of our time and energy into these other businesses and organizations. And by the time that we're done investing our time into them, we don't have anything left for ourselves. Dame says, make your goals a part time job that requires only an hour or more of concentration each day to turn your dreams into a full time lifestyle. In light of what's happening right now with the government shutdown and everything that's happening, I often wonder how many of those people had or have other streams of income coming in that stem from their own doings. And I know that that's a really touchy subject right now because, a lot of people, they're hurting. But it just really makes me think what difference it would make if they had other things going on other than relying on this job as their sole means of survival. I speak for everyone else, but for me, sometimes I'm a little afraid to ask questions. What I like here along the lines of being transparent is that there's an interview with Vlad that Dame has, and he's asking questions to Vlad. He asks, so explain how you make your money. I need to pick your brain because I have a television network now. And that's something I have highlighted because I know that that's a new venture that he's going into. And so to see him ask someone else how they're able to monetize so that he could, see what they're doing and maybe implement it or see what they're doing and change things around to suit himself helped me and just let me know that it's okay to ask questions to things that I don't know. Okay, JPT Nation, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my review. Do you think Culture Vultures is a book that you enjoy? If so, I'll make sure I'll put the information as well as Dame Dash's and Kenyatta's Instagram information in the description box below. See you next time. Thanks for watching.